Are the Seahawks a destination for Jimmy G? And who else could they even be playing at quarterback if it's not Jimmy G? Find out next on our Nate's Nonsense. Hello and welcome to Niner Nate's Nonsense. We are here for the 2022 season. The 49ers start training camp in just 1 week. And it's time for a good old-fashioned NFC West preview. As you know, we go in direction of where we think the teams will finish in the division. So, of course, we're starting with the team in the rainy city of Seattle. Welcome, Jason Puckett of 93.3 KJR in Seattle. How are you?
Niner Nate, good to see you. How are things down in the Bay Area, huh?
Oh, it's great. We got a new quarterback.
Yeah.
No more picks to the other team, hopefully. No more injuries for half the season. It's great. I'm hoping our old quarterback becomes yours. That would make it even better.
How are the hobos doing down? I mean, really, the Bay Area is kind of the capital of hobo land, right? Is that the case? Correct?
I guess in
kind of hobo
in the scenario
central.
that it's hobo central, like it's hippie central up in Washington.
Sure.
Yeah,
well, I mean, what do you prefer, the hippies or the hobos? I don't know. It's really is a toss up. How long you been doing this show? Do people really check in on this thing? Niner Nate's Nonsense. I mean, the graphics. Did you do those graphics? I mean, that's beautiful.
No, I'm not that talented. Someone else did those graphics, and I paid them to do it. But
that's awful.
Niner Nate's Nonsense. It was something I created when I worked up there with you at 93.3, which used to be 950.
Yeah.
And it kind of became something of its own. So, I mean, here we are talking about, the 2022 season. You guys got to be pretty excited up there, right? So much to be excited about in Seahawk land. You got Drew Lock, right?
So let me ask. I knew you're just going to go right into this. So what the hell do you have to be excited for? For a quarterback that the only thing he can really do is run?
Honestly, I think.
Honestly, like
you just haven't been paying attention.
He's had one good game, and you guys act down there. I mean, I love you, Tanya and 49ers girl who's checked in here. You guys act as if Trey Lance is Joe Montana. He's terrible. I mean, I was in the Bay Area.
He's not terrible. Don't go there.
First of all, I was there for the 49ers game down there when Garoppolo was carving up the Seahawks, carving them up in the first half. Now they couldn't execute in the red zone, so they didn't score any touchdowns. Trey Lance, he gets hurt at the end of the half. Trey Lance comes in. Okay? Tell me how Trey Lance did in the second half of that game. I mean, I can pull up the stats for you if you'd like. Would you like to hear the stats? So here, no. Here it is, because 49er fans are waiting for this. You lost that game, by the way. This was the guy that you traded 2 first-round draft picks for to move up to get him, and this was going to be his. Ooh, here he comes, his big break against a terrible defense. By the way, not even a good Pete Carroll defense. He was 9 of 18. For 157 yards. I'll repeat that because I know the hobos in the Bay Area are a little slow. 9 of 18 for 157 yards. So you tell me why he's Joe Montana again.
I mean, if you want to talk about quarterbacks, we could talk about quarterbacks.
I know Drew Lock, but here's the thing. I know Drew Lock's terrible, but I know he's terrible. Okay. And I know Geno Smith is terrible. I mean, I get all of it. But when are you guys going to – you honestly, hand to God, we're having fun because we love each other. Hand to God, do you think he's going to be a star? 100%.
Yes, 100%.
Based on what?
I went to the Houston Texans game last year, and he
threw Houston Texans? Aren't they like the worst football team in the league?
Okay, the Houston Texans the week before, a quarterback who you on your radio show and many of you on your radio show have said, Justin Herbert, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, couldn't beat that Houston Texans team that Trey Lance then lit up the following week.
He was 16 of, hold on, first of all, he was 16 of 23 for 249. 2 touchdowns and a pick. Now, I don't know about your definition of lighting another team up. That doesn't scream to me that he lit someone up.
What did Russell Wilson do his rookie year?
Oh, what? Well, I don't know, Nate. He
started. Oh, here we go.
Russell
Wilson's rookie year.
His rookie year? He started every stinking game, Nate.
Yeah, but he started slow for a little while.
Nate, he started every game. They won a playoff game and damn near was playing in the NFC Championship game. What the hell are you talking about? Don't compare Trey Lance to Russell Wilson's rookie season. He started from day one. And
he had a transcendent defense.
Oh, my. Oh, and your defense was bad?
Transcendent defense picked him up.
Is your defense bad? Was it bad last year? It
wasn't as good as 2019 last year.
Here's the thing. If he was so good, and he may be good, but if he was this number 3 overall pick good, he couldn't beat out Jimmy Garoppolo. He couldn't beat him out.
Here's where, they didn't intend on him starting at all last year. That was the plan. They wanted him to sit for Their plan was for him to sit the entire year. But Jimmy Garoppolo could not stay healthy. And because Jimmy Garoppolo couldn't stay healthy, they had to play him. You're going to see that first game against the Bears. You're going to turn your TV on after the Seahawks lose to some garbage team because
playing the Broncos week 1.
Oh my God. You get to watch Russell Wilson, who saved your city from being poverty, demolish your city back into the
God, I cannot wait. I really cannot wait till Trey Lance, who's so overrated, is such a bust for you. It is going to be the funniest thing to ever watch Niner fans go through. Who didn't even have a first-round pick this year, who wasted a 2022 first-round pick, who wasted a 2023 first-round pick to move up to get a guy who was, North Dakota State plays, who they play, right? Like Montana.
You scout.
That's who they play.
The
Montana,
player, not the school. Jason.
They play Montana.
You scout the player, not the school. Josh Allen, who is now the second best quarterback,
played
in
at
the
Wyoming.
NFL,
that's Division 1.
Wyoming.
But the difference
it's
between
Wyoming.
But Nate, this is Wyoming. This is North Dakota State. That's the level of play.
North Dakota State is very good for what it is.
It's Division 2 football.
What did they say about Carson Wentz when he went number 1 overall?
Okay.
Or number 2 overall.
Hey, and tell me how Carson Wentz is doing now.
Where's Wentz got his team to a Super Bowl before he got injured.
He didn't. He didn't get anybody to a Super Bowl.
He got them to the Super Bowl. His playoff record allowed them to have the number 1 seed.
How did he do this past year?
How did he do this past year? He blew it.
Okay.
He was on
where's he at now? Where's he at?
He's with the Washington Commanders, which is basically the doldrums of the NFL.
So your
Snyder.
So
is the worst owner in the NFL.
Your evidence that Trey Lance is going to be great is Carson Wentz.
All right, we had our Trey Lance talk. Here's the deal.
No, I'm not done with Trey Lance.
You're transcendent quarterback. The guy who, when I lived there, was God.
Can I address 49ers girl? The plan was for him to sit, period. Hey, 49ers girl. If Trey Lance, and I'm going to look, kind of looking on the camera here. If Trey Lance was better than Jimmy Garoppolo, he would have beaten out Jimmy Garoppolo. That's how football and that's how life and that's how sports work. The better player plays. He wasn't better than Jimmy Garoppolo. So, period.
You play a really good villain, Anyways,
no, it's all an act.
So the guy who literally, people didn't go to church when I lived in Seattle. Didn't go to church to go worship God on Sunday. They went to church to go worship Russell freaking Wilson.
Yeah.
Let's go through it. What happened? What went wrong? Why is this man now a Denver Bronco? You've seen the videos. Let's ride. Let's ride in Denver and not Seattle. How do you feel about that? What's going on?
Is this what you do? Is this to deflect the fact that that the best move for this organization is to keep Garoppolo because he's better than Trey Lance, and that deep down that, but you don't want to admit it? It's a veteran move by you, 9-8, and I'm very proud of you. You've learned from the best.
I learned from you and Softy.
Yeah. All right. How do people feel about him being a Bronco?
Yeah, let's hear. What's the gist in Seattle?
I think the majority of the fan base is glad he's gone. And it's crazy to say that. But they're glad he's gone. I just think that his act got tired and he just turned into a massive giant headache and diva. And he just became something that he was not in his first few years in the league when he was a rookie and he was, he's getting into the league and he had a little bit of perspective. I think money and fame and what have you certainly changed him. And it became not just Russell Wilson, the football player, it became Russell Wilson, the brand. And then it became the Russell Wilson image. And I think it got tired. I think a lot of the stuff that some of the defensive guys over the years said about him, I think finally the majority of the fans kind of saw him. And I think it took fans a long time to really, really understand this. Kevin, how much weed am I smoking in Washington? I haven't had any weed tonight, Kevin. No. Trey kicked his ass in camp and fractured his finger. Kyle was going to name him the starter. When was he healthy from the fractured finger?
It wasn't until after the Colts game, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, didn't he also play in the
He played in that Seahawks game.
That was October 3rd. Yeah. So that's a month into the season.
Well, he didn't play well in that Arizona Cardinals game because of the finger is what.
The old finger excuse. Yeah.
Okay, continue with your Russells and stuff. Continue. Quit attacking my listeners.
You guys got to wake up. If he was so much better, he would have been playing more. So he would have been. He may be good, but you have to admit as a Niners fan, I'll get back to Wilson. Niners fans, you've got to admit, you are unsure whether or not he's going to be good.
We're going to find out real fast.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. You're going to understand. You have to understand. You have to be open to like I am. I'm open to the possibility that he's going to be really good. I mean, he's taken 3rd overall for a reason. But you have to be open to the possibility for a guy that had accuracy issues in college. Find any scout, anyone that scouted him was the number one thing was his accuracy. He was a power football type of. They ran power with him. You know what power is? Those were his running plays, power running plays. He's not going to run that in the NFL. He's going to get murdered if he does that in the NFL continuously. And the accuracy is not something you just get better at in the NFL. So there's question marks. I'm just saying there are question marks whether or not he's going to be a star. And if he's not a star, Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch are out of a job because they mortgaged the future to move up to get him.
Yeah.
Ran off a quarterback that you went to a Super Bowl with. If the head coach for another time doesn't blow it again with his play calling, you win a Super Bowl with him. You should have been back in the Super Bowl again, but who was the clown that dropped the interception? Tart.
He's with the Eagles now.
Okay. Jimmy
Garoppolo was awful in the fourth quarter. Both
he's an interception. He's an interception away from playing in another Super Bowl. Again, tell me how that was his fault. The guy dropped a pick. Dropped it. Okay, back to Wilson. What do you want to know about Wilson? We all hate him up here. Is that what you want to know? We hate him. Hate him to death.
If Tart catches that pick, God, you got me fucking arguing with you.
Hey, can you swear on this?
YouTube. It's YouTube. You can swear.
Geez. I can't swear. I can't do this.
Oh, well,
all right, so Wilson is people.
He drops that pick, even if he catches that pick, who's to say that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to find a way to score there? He had been awful that whole fourth quarter at that point.
I'm just saying, though, he didn't drop that interception. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback in the world. I think he's one of the best. I think he's one of the 32 best. He should be a starter in the league. I think it's vastly overrated how bad people think he is. That's it.
You talked a lot of smack about Garoppolo on your radio show.
Well, of course, because he played for the 49ers. That's what you do. It's all entertainment. Come on, don't you know
when the Niners were going to the playoffs and almost in the Super Bowl, you were still talking shit about Jimmy Garoppolo on the radio.
Yeah. What's your point? Of course.
So why do you guys hate Russell Wilson? Just because he started acting like a diva?
I just think that, I just think that it's
unlimited.
Yeah, I think the act got, I think eventually, you've got to show what your real personality is. And I don't think anybody ever really knew what his real personality was. And I think with Wilson is you're always kind of meeting his representative, who Russell Wilson is, and not really meeting Russell Wilson. And I think a lot of people, especially maybe in Seattle, I don't know if it's the same in San Francisco, but I think a lot of people up here like authenticity. And I just think there's just authenticity missing, from Russell Wilson. And then that's just personally, right? Stuff off the field. I think on the field, he's a remarkable quarterback. I mean, he makes plays that just other quarterbacks do not make. And he's sensational at that. Off script plays, there's probably never been a quarterback better off script. I mean, there's probably a debate. Fran Tarkenton's going to be one. Aaron Rodgers is certainly going to be one. But Russell Wilson's going to be right up there. What's that?
Dan Marino.
Off script?
Yeah.
Dan Marino. What are you talking about?
Dan Marino was
a statue.
No.
I'm talking about guys that break away from the pocket and run around and
okay, we're talking about arm talent. We're talking about arm talent.
No, I'm not talking about arm talent. I'm talking about when the pocket breaks down. When you're scrambling, you're making plays. That's what I'm off script. Off script. You're not making plays within the context of the offense. Like, 3-step drop, boom, hit the slant or hit the fly or hit the curl. Yeah, I mean, Dan Marino was unbelievable there. Yeah. I'm talking about guys.
The thing about Russell Wilson is like it always felt like anything could happen on any given play. Even when I lived up there and had to watch you guys win football games, it was super annoying because no matter how much you were down, the guy could do anything. And but him leaving is sort of a shock because he was a god.
Yeah, but I mean, therein lies though. I think the issue with him that I'm going to be curious to see how he does here in the next few years with Denver is that he's getting older. He's not going to be as mobile as he once was, and a lot of the reasons why he had to scramble out of plays and get out of the pocket was because he cannot see. He just cannot see. He's 5'10". What's the average offensive lineman? 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah.
I mean, Hugh Millen, who works up here in Seattle, Hugh from your time up in Seattle. He would say that John Elway, who I think is 6'4", John Elway would routinely tell that he could not see over the line of scrimmage. John Elway, who's 6'4".
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's 5'10". But I mean, so I think people got tired of that because, making the plays off script. And I think that he wouldn't be the quarterback of the offense. I don't think Shane Waldron was probably real happy with how the offense was being run under him. Probably not what he envisioned. I think he's got maybe some issues of being coachable because I think he sees the stuff on film and understands the things that he's the errors he makes, but then he doesn't correct them. But he gets away with some of the stuff, Nate, because he's so naturally gifted. But here's the other thing. He's going to finally, the first time in his career, to an offensive-minded head coach. So can Hackett do something with that? Or will Russell Wilson keep reverting back to this backyard kind of street ball? I mean, he plays sandlot football. That's their Seahawks' best offense. Always. Watching them. And Niner fans know watching them. Kevin, who said, "Give me a break, Jason," and 49ers girl. You guys know, and I love you guys. Kevin and 49ers girl, that the best offense for the Seahawks for the last 8 years was when the play broke down. Yeah. And he just ran around and made a play. So their time had come to an end. And don't forget this, and it took a lot of Seahawks fans, and I'm taking so much of your time here, and I'm sorry, I'm doing a filibuster here.
It's fine.
Is I think Seahawks fans finally realize this. I mean, he's the one who wanted out. He started this whole thing about wanting to get out of here. And so I think that once he made it clear that he wanted to be out, I think it was up to the Seahawks to say, they probably tried to convince him to stay. But you remember that, when he won the Man of the Year, remember he went on Dan Patrick and he complained about his offensive line.
Yeah. Right the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I'm getting hit all the time. And he just, it's like, whoa. The one thing you do here is you don't throw your offensive line under the bus. And that's then the report comes out, which was such an odd report. You remember that?
Yeah.
Hey, well, if I'm going to be traded, here are the 10 teams or here are the 6 teams I'd like to go to. And everyone's saying to themselves, traded? Who's talking about trading you? No one's even brought it up. And it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Well, if Russell Wilson's going to be traded, here are the teams he'd like to go to. And that wasn't a source. That was from his agent. And that doesn't get approved to do without Russell Wilson. And I think once that happened, it was clear that he wanted out. And he got his wish.
I mean, yeah, he's with Denver with a good offensive line, some good weapons. I think Tyler Lockett's probably the best receiver he'll ever play with for the rest of his career. I think that guy is just so underrated. I think a lot of people outside of Seattle don't really understand what he did for that football team, the stuff he could achieve. I think a lot of people are like, oh, DK Metcalf is just this freak, right? But Tyler Lockett can make every catch, everywhere. Didn't matter where the ball was, the guy made the catch. And so I think that he'll miss something like that. But, you know, obviously there's a ton to talk about. But, like, when you guys play Denver that first week, you know, have you thought about it? Have you talked about it on the radio? You know, how it's going to feel going into, you know, Denver and seeing him in orange and blue and having him throw against your defense that statistically hasn't been very good for a couple of years now?
Yeah, I mean, it's I think the wave of emotion is going to be real interesting. I really did think it was going to be like 70-30 positive. And I think initially when it happened, I thought even maybe 80-20 positive. I thought there would be a lot more people, you know, cheering for him. And then as you know, the weeks, months went by after the trade, and just talking to people on our radio show and seeing the reaction, I think it's going to be a real split. And it actually maybe could go in the other direction. And I just think as the story came out more and more about how, you know, he really orchestrated this whole thing behind the scenes, the one thing that Seattle fans don't like is when they are told, we don't like you anymore. We want out. You know, it's Seattle's very provincial. Very well. Yeah. Very provincial, this town.
You had A-Rod and he wanted out.
He took $280 million. What the hell are you going to do? But I mean, when you know, it's a very provincial place. I mean, maybe you know, it's people are proud of this area. And so when someone says they don't want to be there anymore, you know, people will turn their backs on them. So I think it's going to be really split. And I think there's going to be a lot more boos than I think he realizes.
It's in Denver, right?
No, it's in Seattle.
Oh, oh shit. Wow.
Yeah. It's Monday. Do you follow the NFL? I'm just wondering, since you do like an NFL show. It's Monday Night Football. It's the biggest game of the week.
No, the biggest game of the week is the fucking Rams and the Bills. Are you kidding me?
And did the Rams and Bills get Monday Night Football billing?
No, it's Thursday Night Football. It's the Super Bowl champions versus the team that they probably should have played in the Super Bowl.
The biggest game is happening Sunday and Monday in Seattle. The guy's returning home to play against his home team. Are you kidding me?
It's going to be a great game, but I think the Buffalo Bills Rams is a
I just think that it's but if you followed the NFL, but clearly you don't, it's unbelievable. You would know that it's Monday Night Football and it's in Seattle, for God's sakes.
I don't follow. I don't work there anymore.
Just I don't follow the league. Maybe follow just Twitter, for God's sakes. But
trust me, I follow Twitter.
I think it's going to be through the roof. And you know,
when Drew Lock comes out of that tunnel.
See, I don't want Drew Lock to be. I don't want him to be the quarterback, though.
Or Jimmy Garoppolo? God,
no, I want Geno Smith because I have a bet. I have a bet with my co-host for $350. It's going to be Geno Smith. I want them. Huh? No, I want them to lose. I want them to lose.
Who did Chris Kidd take? Did he take Jimmy Garoppolo or the field?
No one's taking Jimmy Garoppolo because Jimmy Garoppolo is not coming to Seattle. What would you like to bet on this? That he's not coming to Seattle? How many things do you want me to? You have a wet dream for this to get him to Seattle for some reason.
It would be the best thing of my life because it would be hilarious.
But you know he's not coming.
Hilarious. It'd be the funniest thing I could think of that could happen. Jimmy Garoppolo and that handsome face wearing that ugly ass Seahawks green.
Oh, that's a it's well. I agree. I don't like the uniform.
Wait till you are you? Well, I mean,
I wish we get the throw. I wish we get the throwbacks. I wish you would.
Jimmy
I'll say this: he's better. Well, he's better than Drew Lock and Geno Smith. That's not even a debate. Not even a debate. He's better than them. So, but no one's going to trade for him. That's not happening. No one is going.
If they cut him, the Seahawks can go get him.
Well, yeah. I mean, if he's released,
The Seahawks will go get him. It'll be awesome.
Maybe, but see, here's why I still don't. I just don't think they will.
Our home opener is Seattle. Could you imagine trading?
I don't think so. Let me just tell you what. Let me just tell you why, and you can get your hands out of your pants. I mean, my God, I can see the camera shaking. Jesus, just thinking about this. Get a sock on, man. Come on. He still has not been. Well, he hasn't passed the physical yet, right? But he's throwing, but he's had off-season shoulder surgery. There's going to be question marks about that. How long do they take this? Well, I don't know. Training camp starts next week. I don't see the Seahawks, unless the Niners release him here in the next few days, that the Seahawks, after having an entire offseason, mini camp, everything they've gone through, learning the playbook and the offense, that they're then going to be like, oh, okay, we're going to bring in another quarterback during training camp. I just don't see it happening. I think that the team that makes the most sense, and
New York Giants.
I was going to say the Browns.
They just signed
Josh Rosen to a 1-year deal. So what?
I mean, how long is I'm not going to talk about Deshaun Watson because I don't want to get into that, but how long is he really going to be suspended for?
Okay, but we don't have to get into what he did, but it's either half a year or a year. I mean, there was a report that maybe it's half a year. Now, if it's a half
8 months or 8 games, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, half a year. Well, yeah. I guess it's 17 now, but
technically.
All right, so 8 games. On a side note, if they do suspend it for 8 games, boy, the NFL, they do care about their women. Jesus. Boy, what a message they send all their female fans.
Remember the guy who got suspended for a year for gambling?
For gambling! He gambled, and he got a year. Who was that guy for the Falcons, right? What's his name?
Calvin Ridley.
I
have him in fantasy.
For gambling. Tom Brady deflated a football. This is how much he deflated the football. Ready? Psst. Psst. Shh. That's how much he left out. Psst. That's how much he left out of the football. Let out of the football. That was it.
4 games.
He got 4 games. If they suspend him for 8 games for 31 women, something like that, is that about right? That would be laughable. So I think the Browns would make a hell of a lot of sense, honestly. And so maybe that's what the Niners are doing right now, is waiting what's going on there. And then do you get the Browns? Do the Browns get a little desperate?
You're just gonna host my show for me.
But he's not coming to see. He's not. You know this. Other than the Browns, no one's going to trade for him. No one's going to pick up $25 million.
Yeah, totally. Well, now that we've had the first half of Jason Puckett's nonsense, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the Seattle Seahawks. You had one of the worst defense. No. We're going to get to offense more too. We're not done talking about this shitty offense you guys are going to put out either. The defense, it's been one of the worst defenses in the NFL for a couple of years now, right? What were the improvements, or, besides your box safety? What are things that you've seen? I actually do like your other linebacker, the kid
Jordan
out of
Brooks.
Oklahoma. Yeah, I like him. I think he's decent.
Texas Tech.
Was it Texas Tech?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I thought it was Oklahoma.
Well, wait. I mean, again,
I don't follow your team that well.
You didn't
anymore.
know who the Seahawks were playing, so go ahead.
No, I knew they were playing Denver. I just didn't know when.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this defense. What's the deal with this defense? Your corners have been awful. I mean, for years. I mean, what's the plan here on defense? Pete Carroll's a defensive-minded head coach. They brought him back despite the fact they're probably rebuilding. What are they doing?
Well, they'll never say they're rebuilding. Nope, he's never going to acknowledge that they're rebuilding. And again, we may think that, and I think a lot of people think that they're rebuilding, but he doesn't believe it. He just does not think that they are going to be a bad football team. That's just how he thinks. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's how he operates. The defense was terrible. Well, the defense got better at times last year. I think it was overrated. When there's a lot of Seahawks fans up there who would get real excited about the defense, like, oh my God, what a great turnaround to the team, and what a great turnaround to the season. To me, it was more about who they played last year.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half of the season when they were turning around, they played nobodies. I mean, they really did. And they didn't really light anybody up. Now, there were some times where they actually had some pretty good performances, but for the most part, it wasn't the same defense that you've seen in the past. They've made some, additions, I think, to the team that, corner is going to be the biggest thing. And that's where they really struggled a year ago, just covering guys. So, Sidney Jones, Artie Burns, Trey Brown, those guys are going to be real dependent on, can they take a step and be the type of defensive backs they need in this defense. And here's the thing. I don't know what this defense is going to look like. I mean, they made, God, I can't even remember all the changes they made on defense. Clint Hurt takes over, Sean Desai. They brought in so many different coaches. I don't think there's anyone right now until they actually play, not even a preseason game, until they actually play a game, regular season, what it really is going to look like. I mean, it's going to have 4-3 principles. It's going to have 3-4 principles. They're going to be moving guys around. The Desai, who they brought over from Chicago, who is running the defense as well with Clint Hurt. He has been known to use 3 safeties at once. What does that mean for Jamal Adams? I can envision probably a type of defense where you see Quandre Diggs and Ryan Neal, who's the other safety who filled in for Jamal Adams last year, and Jamal Adams all on the field at the same time. And then they really do have Adams down in the box as almost safety in name, but really as a linebacker. And that's his best role. His best role is playing at the line of scrimmage, stopping the run, blitzing when they can blitz him, and being physical. People want to debate this up here for some reason. He cannot cover. He can't cover a cold. He can't cover anything. He's not good at it. He thinks he is. They want to try and tell he is, but he's not. He is. You can whatever you can pull up his. I don't know if you subscribe to PFF. Pull up his PFF ranking coverage skills. He is, I think, dead last in coverage safeties. He is just not his strong suit, but he is good at the line of scrimmage, and he's good to be physical. So they've got their biggest thing this year, Nate, is with this new. I give Carroll credit because he saw the problem with this defense. He addressed it. He made a bunch of changes and decided to get out of his comfort zone of the type of defense he had been running for so long since he came into the league, and decided to say, you know what, that hasn't been working for the last few years. We haven't had Earl Thomas and Cam Chancellor and Richard Sherman. We need to try something new. So I give him a lot of credit because not a lot of coaches do that. Maybe a few seasons too late for it, but he did it. And I'm intrigued to see what it is. I mean, they get Nuoso. Remember, they get him from the Chargers.
Yes.
They, Shelby Harris came over, of course, in the trade there with the Denver Broncos. Jordan Brooks now is going to have more of a role, obviously, with Bobby Wagner gone. And then I think, Darrell Taylor, what is he going to do in another year? So, I mean, I think they've got a lot of intriguing, fast players on this team, especially defensively. But, how much are they going to miss Bobby Wagner in the middle? Now, I would assume probably a lot, but, we'll see. But
Bobby couldn't cover anybody either towards the end either. So, I mean,
he's getting older. Yeah. I mean, he's
better than anything the Rams had. But the thing was like, were you really going to pay him that much money when he can't cover anybody?
Well, I mean, but even the coverage, I mean, everyone would say, well, how many tackles that he got, right? But I think, where was he getting those tackles? Was he getting the tackles at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage, or was he getting the tackles, 5-6 yards down the field?
He's not the Bobby Wagner that played on, that team when they were in the playoffs every year.
No, not at all. But a lot of different. I mean, there's a lot of different names. I mean, you just look at if you look at the depth chart right now, Shelby Harris.
I've never heard any of your corners. Honestly.
Well, Sidney Jones. Yeah, I mean, Sidney Jones. Artie Burns is good. Artie Burns with Chicago was a free agent. But, yeah, Justin Coleman, nickelback. I mean, Quandre Diggs is a stud at safety. But Jordan Brooks and Cody Barton, I mean, these are not the names of the past. I'll say this. It's younger and faster. And so I just hope
it actually gives you some sort of pass rush because, I mean, that's been one of the biggest problems of the Seahawks over the years.
Yeah.
They just haven't had any pass rush, right? When you have no pass rush, you just get thrown on all day. I mean, what's interesting to me, and I have to say this because I have to dig this at you. Kerry Hyder decided that your defensive line was so bad that he'd rather go play with the 49ers again than play with you guys anymore. How do you feel about that?
I don't even remember Kerry Hyder making a single goddamn play when he was.
And I remember when they signed him. I remember when the Seahawks signed him, it was a big damn deal because I think he had 8 sacks with the 49ers, something like that.
And he was terrible for the Seahawks.
Yeah.
So was that a Seahawks problem or was that a Kerry Hyder problem? You think Kerry Hyder was propped up by the guys that were on the defensive line with him with San Francisco?
Nick Bosa wasn't healthy that year, so keep that in mind. The year that he had 8 sacks, Nick Bosa.
Do you think Hyder? Do you think maybe it was on the player rather than the system?
I think it was more the system. I think the 49ers defensive line system is just better.
So they decided we're not going to take advantage of his skill set, or maybe he just was not that good.
I just don't think the Seahawks were very good on defense.
Where did they rank compared to the 49ers last year?
Oh, probably pretty low, I would imagine.
Well, we can
the
always.
Niners, I think, had a top 5 defense.
We got the internet. We can always just look it up, Nate. Come on.
Yeah, but that's not good radio when you're sitting here like, oh, let's look up stuff on the internet.
Good radio.
Right?
It's not radio, Nate. This is YouTube.
This is YouTube.
It's all
live.
different, right?
We're doing it live.
Well, I mean, this is live. I mean, I've never been more excited and aroused in my life than doing a live show with you right now.
We've done a lot of live shows. We talked.
So the Niners last year gave up 21.5 points on defense, right?
So Jesse says the Seahawks released him. He was so bad.
Okay. So the Niners gave up 21.5 points on defense, right? Do you judge defenses by how many points they give up?
It's like total defense more than anything, I think.
Why would you care about total? So if the total defense, they
fine.
give up
2 points given up. Go for it. That's fine. Do it.
They both gave up 20.
This is your narrative.
No, they both gave up 21.5.
And the Niners defense was clearly better than the Seahawks. So
tell me how much better. Tell me how much better they were. Well, they really weren't that much better. They gave up the same amount of points.
This was a stupid stat to bring up when you knew it was going to give you that result.
It's not a stupid stat. Of course, I'm going to go with the stat that proves my point.
It says that the Niners defense and the Seahawks defense are the same last year. It's a stupid stat because the 49ers defense was much better than the Seattle Seahawks.
What's the most important stat for a defense? What is it?
Probably yards allowed.
Nate.
Yes.
Have you given up drinking, right?
It's yards allowed.
Have you given up drinking?
Yes, I did.
Okay, you did, right? Are you drinking again? Because I could be concerned about you.
Just for the last 4 months, because my girlfriend's been
getting
ready for the bar exam.
Listen to me. No one cares how many yards you give up. Why would you care about that stat?
That's what I care about, man.
It's not. So you think yards given up is more important than points?
Jesse Sleeves is giving me more information than you are, just so you know.
Huh?
Definitely was. Jesse Sleeves in the comments here.
Well,
giving me more information.
Then get Jesse Sleeves on. I have better things going on in my night than to sit here and do this show. You want Jesse?
Every once in a while, you get to hang out with me for an hour. You know,
you want Jesse Sleeves? Then go get goddamn Jesse Sleeves on the show. I like Jesse. Long time listener, first time caller.
So obviously, the defense. You're hoping there's improvement. You're hoping the pass rush is better. You're hoping these guys. He said, "No thanks. I don't have great hair."
Is Jesse bald? Yeah, he's bald.
So you're hoping you see improvement on the defense, but the offense is now it's a completely different beast minus DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. You guys seem like
thanks for that. I didn't know that.
Let me do my spiel. This isn't Jason Puckett's nonsense.
That's true. I'm sorry.
And so you spend a lot of draft picks on offensive line in this draft. Russell Wilson leaves, the greatest, most transcendent quarterback the Seahawks have ever had leaves. We've been complaining about offensive line for over 10 years, and once he leaves, you finally decide to go offensive line. So what is the plan on offense from, what you guys are seeing? Training camp obviously hasn't started yet. I know that. But, what is the thing that people are talking about in Seattle when it comes to the offense outside of quarterback? Because we will talk about Drew Lock and Geno Smith.
Well, number one, who's going to be quarterback? That's the only storyline is who's going to be under center. Is it going to be Geno Smith or is it going to be Drew Lock, which is just an embarrassing conversation to have? The
mighty have fallen.
Well, yeah, but if you next season, if you tank it, look at the draft class.
Yeah, the kid from Alabama.
Well, or CJ Stroud, Ohio State,
Stroud,
or anybody else that could eventually, develop as the year goes on. They're thinking. The salaries for quarterbacks have gotten so out of hand that it almost makes it's just so difficult now to get great players around, to build your team because, look at what Arizona did, yesterday or today?
It was today.
230. What was it? 230 million. This guy's making $47 million. It's unbelievable. This is what this guy's going to be making a year. It's just stupid. You got Mahomes, eventually that thing's going to kick into 50. What's Russell Wilson going to reach when his contract is up in a year, 2 years? I mean, what is he going to sign with? With Denver. So he's going to break that bank. Every top quarterback is going to keep breaking the next guy every time. Just going to keep going and going. And so they need to address that. The tackles, I thought it was a great kind of move that, they had talked about always improving Wilson had always talked about improving the offensive line. And then of course the first draft they go out and really spend some major draft capital to improve that. It's always been a misnomer that they never addressed the offensive line. They always did. They drafted a ton of guys all the time. They just didn't.
But not in the high rounds. That was the thing.
But they were good. They're not crappy like you guys. They always have high draft picks. They were good. See, that's how it works in the NFL, Nate. When you're good. When was the
last time you were the number one seed?
When you're good, I don't know.
When was the last time you were the number one seed?
When they won the Super Bowl. When they went to the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Yeah,
the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And
they lost the Super Bowl.
And then they were the number one seed the year before and they won. So what's your point?
It's been almost 8 years since you were the number one
when
seed.
Were you the number one seed?
2019.
And was that the Super Bowl of the Chiefs?
That was the Chiefs.
Was that a win or a loss?
Fuck you.
Was that when Shanahan shit the bed again in a big game? No,
that was when Jimmy Garoppolo shit the bed.
Was that another
one throw? The dude is wide open.
Was that another Kyle Shanahan Silence of the Lambs? He went in there and kind of hold on Twitter, but he went in there and he tucked his junk between his legs. Yeah, when I fuck me, I fuck me. Remember Silence of the Lambs when he does that? Remember when Shanahan? I mean, is that what he did? Yeah, well, I can't do that. But is that? I mean, when Kyle Shanahan choked away another Super Bowl with his play call?
We're talking about your draft picks, and you didn't draft lineman high in the higher rounds, meaning
because they don't have a high draft pick. Because
you didn't draft a lineman until the third or fourth round for 5 years at one point when I was.
Well, they drafted a guy in the first round.
You had a draft where you drafted 5 running backs in 1 year.
What are you talking about?
There was a draft.
What
where you
draft?
Drafted
no, there was
not.
Backs. No, there was
not. Yes, there was. It was the year that you drafted Chris Carson.
Okay, let's pull this up. You know what? Because I'm not here for this Seahawks slander. Really not. Really not here for this.
You drafted
what do you want?
4 or 5 running backs.
What do you want? The tackles? Okay, tackles. What are you asking me? They drafted 2 tackles that are both from an air raid offense. Now I find great humor in that. Because you're a run first offense, but why would you draft 2 air raid quarterback or 2 air raid tackles?
And the air raid offense that we've seen doesn't even work in the NFL. So,
well, that's not true. I mean, it does. The air raid offense is all over the NFL.
Although, the Cardinals have been doing what happens in the second half of their season every year.
Yeah, but I mean, there's principles of it all over the place. Although most people will tell you that it's easier, and this makes sense, though. I think it's easier to teach a lineman to run block in the NFL than it is to teach him to pass block. So if both these guys, Cross and Abe Lucas, who went to Washington State, the greatest university in all of the land, if anyone wants to go to the finest university in land, Washington State University, they call it God's country, folks. They great in pass protection, both of them. And the thing with Cross, when Cross went to Mississippi State initially, he wasn't recruited by Mike Leach, who runs the air raid. He was recruited by a different offensive system that ran the ball. So whatever. Long story short, they addressed the offensive line. Cross will be, a starter week 1. I assume Lucas will be. I think it's, hey, good luck with 2 rookie tackles. I mean, that's going to be a learning curve. So I'm looking through their draft history. They've never drafted
3 running backs.
Okay, is that 5? 3?
But then you drafted 2 the following year and 2 the year after. Or 2 the next year and then 1 the next one.
They drafted 3. Zach Brooks in the 7th round.
Zach Brooks, baby. You remember that one? Or CJ Procise?
Okay, that's 3.
Mr. Glass, they call him Mr. Glass.
So they drafted 3. You said 5.
1 more.
So you're wrong. You're wrong. Just admit you're wrong. Say I was wrong.
Alex Collins, baby.
Yeah, that's 3. That's not 5.
3. There's 3. I said 3. I said 4 or 5 the first time, and then I looked it up as 3.
God, still haven't changed. Just an absolute putz. Can't believe I'm doing this goddamn show.
Let's hear about the running back you drafted in the second round.
Yeah, rookie of the year.
This year?
Yeah, the guy that's going to be the guy that's getting Kenneth Walker the third, who's going to be the rookie of the year. Yeah, what would you like to know about him? The best running back in the class? Yes.
Okay.
Fastest running back in the class, best vision in the class. He's going to be the best running back in the class.
What happens to Chris Carson here?
Oh, he's done. We're done. He's
done with him. Kid was
a
stud.
Of course, he's a stud.
He just couldn't stay healthy, and so we were just done with him.
Well, he's not going to be able to play anymore. He's not going to be cleared. He's not. He's got a neck injury, a serious neck injury. He's not going to be cleared. I don't think. I mean, obviously could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to be cleared.
So the plan is then Rashad Penny and this Walker kid then?
Yeah. Which I think is, it's a little bit of a gamble because, you're talking about a rookie running back. I know what the workload injuries on the situation with him is going to be. And then Rashad Penny, I mean, he hasn't stayed healthy. Rashad Penny, and a lot of people get so excited up here about Rashad Penny. It was 4 games. It was 4 games in 3 years. He's been good. And I get it. It was a great 4 games. I was excited. Yeah. Everyone's excited. But, people really overreacted. Like he was Barry Sanders, for God's sakes. But you got to remind people that it was just 4 games. So,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think their depth there is going to be interesting to watch. If Kenneth Walker is the real deal, I mean, Penny will, if he's healthy, will probably open up as the starter, but I don't think it'll be long for Kenneth Walker to take over. I think the highlights you see when he's playing at Michigan State is just sick. I mean, he's just got incredible vision, and people have called. I mean, there's been some crazy comparisons, but
and you don't have a quarterback, so I mean, that's the thing is you're going to run the ball.
Shut your mouth. You shut your mouth about.
I have one more question, and
let's have a bet.
Let's
have a bet.
I promise we're gonna get to the quarterback.
Let's have a bet. Okay, let's have a bet.
What is it?
Okay, I really want Geno Smith to be. I don't care who it is. Okay, I don't care.
$350, don't you?
I do, but I'll do this with you because
okay.
Whoever the Seahawks have, Geno Smith or Drew Lock, I bet you they put up
Trey Lance.
I bet you they have better numbers than Trey Lance.
What do you want to bet?
Just whatever. What do you want? $100?
$100, sure.
Okay.
Trey Lance is going to shit on both of those two.
How about I get your podcast? I get this YouTube podcast, and I'm going to still call it Niners Late Nonsense, but we're not going to talk any 49ers. It's going to be all Seahawks.
So there's one more question, and then we'll get to the quarterbacks. So DK Metcalf, obviously he's still there. He's looking for a contract. What's the deal with him? Do you think he'll be part of this whole rebuild thing, or do you think you're going to end up having to trade him at the trade deadline because you guys are going to be so awful?
Well, I'm not trading him. No, I mean, you don't trade. He's a generational talent at wide receiver. You don't trade him. There's no I mean, I get it because people get scared off about all the money with the wide receivers are making now, which is absurd, right? You're going to go through with the same thing with Deebo Samuel. He hasn't been resolved. So you don't spend this on me. Don't be spending this on us. It's just a Seahawks problem. It's a Deebo Samuel problem too. He's not happy there. He doesn't want to be there.
Samuel's better than DK Metcalf.
He doesn't even want it. Well, I don't know about that.
Deebo Samuel is absolutely better than DK Metcalf.
He's a running back. He doesn't play. He doesn't play. First of all,
he plays running back because our quarterback was inept. He's a wide receiver.
As a pure wide receiver, I think that's up for debate. Okay. As a pure wide receiver.
This is a stupid conversation. Keep going.
As a pure wide receiver, you think Deebo Samuel is a pure wide receiver is better than DK Metcalf?
Yes, and everyone in these fucking comments would agree with me.
Well, because they're Niner fans, and I mean, of course they're going to agree with
brains
you.
And they know how good Deebo.
How much do they actually have brains, Nate?
Okay,
they will re-sign him.
You think they will? Okay,
of course they will. The Seahawks,
right?
They're going to
resign.
It's
a full rebuild.
It's not a full rebuild. I just don't buy into that. It's not a full rebuild. Not in the NFL. They're not tearing down the entire team. Replacing one guy.
Who's there? Who on that team besides DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett is there? And is Dwayne Brown still there? Dwayne Brown's still there, right?
No.
He's gone?
Yeah, that's why when we just talked about the tackles they drafted, I said Charles Cross is starting at left tackle. Oh, Jesus. Okay. You know they make these things. You know what they're called?
Not Jesus.
Q-tips.
Yeah, okay.
You know what you do? You put the Q-tip under the water and clear out goddamn
Did his contract end, or did you release him? Or they just didn't want him? They just were like, let's get younger.
Where was his contract?
I remember you gave him an extension.
It was up. was up. I think so.
Who's up?
Maybe Sleeves can answer me. I can't remember.
We got one of your radio listeners in here.
Makes Deebo Samuel look like Tavon Austin.
These are some 93.3 KJR people right here.
Do we think we have any KJR listeners?
Oh, we definitely do. I don't know. Jesse Sleeves. I don't think he follows.
Well, Jesse is. I know Jesse is.
And this TK, this is definitely one of your listeners. He's still a free agent, according to Jesse Sleeves. Yo, this man has all.
I said he was a free agent. I just told you that.
Oh, he got arrested in LA, though.
Do you want to just you want to talk to me, or do you want to just read fucking Jesse Sleeves comments the old show?
You're funny. All right, so the moment every Niner fan has been waiting for, where we talk about the poverty that is the Seattle Seahawks quarterback room. Okay, so you told me, you have a bet with your co-host that you think it's going to be Geno Smith. I mean, these are two of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe 31, 30, 32, something like that.
Sure.
Both of them. So, I mean, what are you expecting? Are you just expecting just awful quarterback play all year and you're just going to live with it? Or what is the feeling in Seattle when you have two guys who probably shouldn't play quarterback?
Well, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of fans that are going to convince themselves into Drew Lock and the potential of Drew Lock and just say that Drew Lock wasn't given any opportunities in Denver. I don't know. I never watched Drew Lock play in Denver.
There's I'm not going to
I'm not going to sit here and I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and comment on I watched all these Drew Lock games. I don't know. I have no idea. He has talked about being jerked around his first few years in the league, that when he had some consistency of playing, that he actually put up some decent numbers. I mean, I think the intangibles are there, right? I mean, he moves well. He's got a big arm. They love to take shots downfield. He's a real gregarious character, fun-loving, good dude, got a good attitude, athletic.
That famous video of him playing the Young Jock song, or the Young
he's got a hot wife, a hot soon-to-be wife. I mean, God, he checks all the boxes.
Yeah,
Nate, I just want you do it right now.
Okay, I will.
Okay,
continue with
no, do it. Just do it right now. Drew Lock's girlfriend, and you just tell me when it pops up. Drew Lock's girlfriend, and you tell me what Trey Lance, huh? You see her? Huh? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. What Trey Lance got that? Trey Lance has got that.
Trey Lance actually dated not only he has a girlfriend now, but he also dated
who?
The Herd's daughter.
Colin Cowherd's daughter?
Yeah, he dated Colin Cowherd's daughter when he was.
She doesn't look like Natalie Newman. Get that? Know that name, Natalie Newman. That's Drew Lock's girlfriend.
Is that what you're more excited about than watching Drew Lock play football? The fact that she's going to be at the games.
1,000%.
Yeah, I would.
The only reason I care about.
You want her holding the hawk on when they bring out the little Seahawk where they go. They come out.
Preferably, yes. Yeah, all of it. I wanted to run out with the team. Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be Seahawk fans that. I think there's going to be Seahawk fans that are convinced themselves that we'll be okay. I don't know what to expect. I have no idea. I mean, I think Geno Smith, the games that he played last year, if you go back and look at him, what was he, 1-2, great win against Jacksonville, but that doesn't count. But the games that they lost, those were close games that they lost. They didn't get blown out. And so can he win them games?
Well, Denver was a much better roster than you guys, to be fair. Just so you know.
I mean, offensive line, yeah. I mean, wide receivers, I don't know. Would you
absolutely
sure, but would you take? Yeah, but would you take? Okay, yeah, but you wouldn't. Would you take their wide receivers over?
I wouldn't take Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy over DK Metcalf and Tyler Rock.
Well, we'll see.
I don't think they're bad. I'm not saying anything about Denver was bad except for their quarterback. That's why Russell Wilson going there was so wild.
Of course,
I've been sitting here and being like, "Yo, I think Denver might win that division." Like.
Really? I don't know. Obviously they could, but they could also finish last in that division.
They're not going to finish worse than the Raiders. There's no way.
How so? The Raiders had a damn good team last year.
Is way better than the Raiders.
Derek Carr just got what he. Derek Carr had a great season last year. You know who he was throwing to? Hunter flipping Renfro.
He's still throwing to Renfro.
Was his best wide receiver. You know what they say about Renfro, right?
No.
Kind of a try-hard guy.
Oh, he brings his lunch pail to work.
Lunch pail guy. Gets the most out of his ability.
He's Wes Welker, yeah.
He's the type of guy that you would take home to date your daughter.
Yeah.
he's a real student of the game, Nate.
Why are we doing this?
He's because I love this game. He's sneaky athletic. Now they go get Devontae Adams. Now here's the second portion of the game. They get Devontae Adams, naturally gifted, uber athletic, just God-given abilities to play the
best wide receiver in the NFL.
Receiver.
He's the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Yeah, and they get Devontae Adams. I mean, I think the Raiders could be better than him. The Chargers could be better than them.
And the Chiefs still have the best quarterback in the world.
And the Chiefs could be better. You're telling me there's a chance.
You guys are rooting against Russell Wilson so bad.
Of course they're rooting against him because we'd get their draft pick. I want them to lose every game. If he gets a high ankle sprain week 1, tough luck. That's playing football. Because who's their bat? I don't even know who their backup is, but
someone bad.
Of course you want them to lose every game.
Bad.
There was actually people debating this. Are you rooting for him in Denver? What kind of goddamn question is that? Why would you be rooting for him? You want the best draft pick. I want him to be terrible. Awful.
The Dolphins root against us every game too because we
I want it to be awful for them. I mean, because that's the only way that it's the only way for them to, to really, because if they're bad, if they somehow tank and the Seahawks tank, which I think is going to be, I mean, they are so loaded with first round picks. And if you think about the teams that could potentially have first round picks next year, they already have quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. So they're not going to spend it on a quarterback. So they'll want to trade. You have draft capital then to trade and go get one of those guys you want. Then it's a home run. And you took a step back for 1 year.
I think Cody just ruined your whole dream here.
Can't wait for this.
Bryce Young, 7-on-7.
Yeah. So Cody, let me ask you, Cody, is his last name Meathead or Meat Hatter? What's his last name?
Melthrother.
That sounds like something you do. Melthrother. That sounds like something you do in your basement with the lights off and no one's around. I'm going to go downstairs. I'm going to Melthrother tonight. Mom, I'm down in the basement. What are you doing down there, Cody? I'm Melthrottering tonight. All right.
People are going to ask for this show to happen every month.
Hey,
it's like, luckily you're going to be on soon because you'll be on before.
I'll whenever you need me. Just like once.
He said, "Thank you." It's German.
Melthrotter. But
yeah, you were making fun of a man.
Cody, do other people watch when you Melthrotter?
Okay, just answer the question. Jesus Christ.
Okay, what do you want me to answer? What am I answering?
It's just, how do you feel about the fact that he's saying your quarterback's, fraudulent 7-on-7 quarterback? The guy
Bryce Young. Bryce Young's not my quarterback.
You're gonna win 2 games, so he might as well be.
So Bryce Young, who plays, let me just check my notes. Bryce Young plays on the greatest team in college football. Bryce Young plays in the greatest division in college conference.
And he's going to be worse
football.
than Trey Lance.
And Bryce Young plays against the best defense that they'll ever play, week in and week out in the SEC.
And he's going to be worse than Trey Lance. How's that feel?
So Trey Lance, who played basically junior high football in college, because that's what his competition was better. Okay,
we're still going with this. Scout the player, not the game.
TC Legends. Is Jason a Seahawks fan? I'm not in the know. I am a Seahawks fan. Thanks, TC Legends.
Quarterback wins, baby. So, I mean, let's just finish the conversation. I'll let you go. I know it's late. So you were talking about Drew Lock. I mean, obviously you want your $350. You want Geno Smith, but
Sure.
Is there any other reason you want Geno Smith besides the $350?
No, just I want to win my bet. You know what? He could start week 1 and then get benched and then go Drew Lock. I just made the bet. The bet was this. The bet wasn't that I think Geno Smith is better. That I think that Geno Smith gives them more of an opportunity to win. I made that bet with Jim, my co-host, because he just checks the boxes what Carroll wants. He wants a quarterback that's going to throw it 24 times a game, not make mistakes, get him, pick up a third down, don't turn the ball over. Hand the ball off. Let's let our defense win the game.
That's Jimmy Garoppolo. I
agree. I'm not saying they wouldn't be interested in Garoppolo. And I'm not even saying would be a bad idea. I'm honestly, if he were released and they kicked the tires on him, He's
time
better
we
than
both
both those
decided
guys. I don't see it happening for a couple of reasons. We can get into that later. But I just made that bet because I think Carroll prefers that style. And then when he watches Locke play in practice and maybe in preseason games, which will be vital, right? There's only 3 of them because they changed it. That his bugaboo at Denver was trying to make big plays, throwing into windows that weren't there. He'd make great plays, but then would throw a pick. And that will drive Carroll nuts. It's going to drive him crazy. And I think he will say, you know what? I'm going to go with the guy that I don't think will make mistakes. And then I think there's another point. Geno Smith is beloved in that locker room. And I know it's all about compete and, the best man wins a job. He's beloved in that locker room. And I think he was he captain last year? Well, I can't remember if he was a captain last year or this year.
You got someone calling you out in the comments, by the way.
Jason excited to find that he passes over middle of the field. Yes. Is that what he's calling me out on?
You also got someone mad about the fact that you called FCS school JV.
It is
what
JV.
About JV? Yeah.
Well, it is.
Is it?
What would you call it? Division I is varsity, right? FCS is below. That's JV. He played JV competition. He just did.
Yeah, but he was the best.
So what? Who cares if he was the best?
He was better than everybody.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, how many years did he play there? Did he even play 1 year?
In 1 year, he won every single game.
But Nate, honestly,
and he had no interceptions.
I'm not trying to be a smartass, but who did he play? You have to honestly ask that. Like, to be a Niner fan, to honestly say that you have no concerns whatsoever about Trey Lance, not a single one, to me is extremely short-sighted.
You had concerns about Russell Wilson every year. Like, even the fact that he was still everyone has concerns about their quarterback. I have less concerns about Trey Lance than I ever had about Jimmy Garoppolo. After that second season where he got hurt, I had way more concerns about Jimmy Garoppolo than I have about Trey Lance right now. Trey Lance, I know that he is going to be more talented than Jimmy Garoppolo. Now he's going to be better when it comes to, we'll obviously see. But I think he has more talent in his arms and his legs and his just everything than Jimmy Garoppolo ever had.
All I'm trying to say is that to sit there and be a fan of Trey Lance and the Niners, to be a fan of the Niners, and to literally tell people there's not a chance that Trey Lance might just be a bust and might not be good because he throws touchdowns in 7-on-7 drills or he throws touchdowns when there's no defense is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. It's just unbelievable. I mean, there's a chance he had completion issues in college against better teams, of the better teams he played. It was an issue when he came out of the draft. And to say that you can all of a sudden be so good now in the NFL, I'm going to tell you, we've had other people, including Hewlin, who've compared him to, there's a lot of Jake Locker in there. And Jake Locker got drafted high. There it is. He's the same player, same exact player.
I think Trey Lance is a throw-first quarterback more so than a run-first.
He wasn't,
and I understand,
though. But that's not how he was used in college.
But he is a throw-first quarterback. If you watch when he played Houston, when he played in Arizona, even with the bad finger, he was looking to throw. And I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but when you watch Patrick Mahomes, the guy wants to throw. He runs when he has to. Trey Lance runs when he can't throw the ball. Like, that's where we are with him at this point. But at the same time, we're going to find out.
Of course you are.
In a couple weeks, we're going to find out. If he stinks, trust me, I'll tell you he stinks. But until I see something that says he stinks, here, TC Legends.
I just say that do you agree with this? Does TC Legends and Cody Melfatter, do they agree Jesus Christ, that if Trey Lance doesn't work out, what's your first? It's the Bears and then who?
You.
Is the Bears and the Seahawks?
Yeah, let's go to the game.
That's me too?
Yeah, come down and we'll go to the game.
If they somehow stumble in the first few weeks of the season and he looks bad, and they had cut Garoppolo, who they knew Garoppolo could at least win them games,
Mm-hmm.
Do you not think that the job that Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch's job aren't in jeopardy?
Absolutely. If he stinks,
They've put all of their chips in this kid.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't deliver, they're done.
But if he does deliver,
then it's great. Then it was a home
run.
The
NFL's done. Because we run the entire league. Okay. If this kid is a stud, like Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, any of those guys, then we run this league.
And then here's the other.
And you have to worry about us being fucking annoying at your stadium every year.
Care. I mean, you're already annoying. I mean, I just think that you look through his one season. He played one season of college football. One. And I just would want people to tell me, like, what's this big game that he had? I mean, I'm looking through he played Butler. I'll be honest with you, I had no idea Butler had a football team. Butler? The basketball team? So he beat Butler. He played Delaware. He played, who's UCD? UC Davis? I mean, I'm just saying, do you think his competition that he played was good?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it was Illinois State? Do you think it was good?
No, but I mean, like, if you notice, if you scout the player, not the game, the talent is there. The kid has talent.
Okay, but you know that's not the same talent that's at Division I football.
I think we're going to find out. Find out. I think this kid's a stud. I really do. And I think you're going to be impressed that second game of the season when you're 0-1 football team after losing to Russell Wilson.
We're
on
going to
Monday Night Football.
Actually, I made a bet they're going to lose that game too. So hopefully they're 0-1.
You are a belligerent gambler.
Well, I mean, there's
delinquent.
Well, my kid's got to go through college, Nate, and there's no way on a salary of hosting a sports show they're going to get there. So gambling's got to take over.
That's true. That is definitely true. Trust me, as someone who also works in that stupid, awful.
Melth Hatter has checked in. His college strength of schedule is irrelevant. He literally has NFL tape now. Okay, so he had one game.
You're just gonna piss off everybody in the comments.
Well, he had one game against a terrible Texans team, and now we're gonna anoint him as.
Okay, Jason. I will say before we end this, I was at that Texans game, and in the first half there were struggles, but that second half, like some of the stuff he was doing was some of the most impressive throws I've seen from a 49er quarterback since Colin. And obviously Colin had his issues, but Colin was really talented. I think a lot of people forget like how good that kid was before all the nonsense happened.
You guys bring him back.
Okay. All right. With that, Jason, it's been an absolute it's been an absolute pleasure.
Okay.
Good luck to your future 2-14 Seattle Seahawks.
I hope they're 2. See, you say that like I'm going to be upset at 2-14. I hope they're 2-14. I want a better draft pick. I just do.
Remember when I did that and you made fun of me? Do you remember that?
Well, I mean, there's a lot.
Remember the year I lived there. No. We're not ending yet. The year I lived there, and you brought me on your show.
Yeah.
And you did why the 49ers will win. And I told you I don't want to do this anymore because the 49ers, I want them to lose every week. And you're like, well, what could you do? Rooting for your favorite football team to lose? That's weird. That's not something a fan does. And I was like, no, I want Nick Bosa. And then we got Nick Bosa, and we went to the fucking Super Bowl.
Well, I'm a hypocrite. I'm a hypocrite sports fan.
You are absolutely a hypocrite, just like everyone in that damn city.
Hey, first of all, come on now. Don't disparage great city of Seattle, hobo land down there. All right.
Honestly, like,
stop sending all your hobos up north.
The things I miss about Seattle are the fact that you guys have like 3 days where it's 90 degrees, like total in a year. I don't miss that rain.
Do you miss also not the entire downtown of having hobos running around and peeing everywhere like it's down there?
Well, the tent city and all that stuff, too.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've had a nice summer. We've had a nice summer so far.
Yeah, it was 103 yesterday.
So. Woo! That's hot in the Bay.
Yeah.
That's hot down there. And what do you guys hate to be called? San Fran.
No, it's
God,
Frisco.
San Fran. No, it's Frisco. What do you hate? You hate Frisco?
I think I hate Frisco more than I hate San Fran.
I thought it's San Fran that people hate.
I hate both of them, to be fair.
I
call it the Bay. We call it the Bay. Just like where the best basketball team in the world plays. Don't forget that.
When they sold out the city of Oakland.
Who gives a shit? They're champions.
Nate, always a pleasure, man.
Absolute pleasure. If anyone wants to check out Jason on the radio, how can they do it?
93.3 KJR FM. Cody, hey, Melthratter. Cody, text me tomorrow. It's 49451 is our text line, Cody. You send me a text just checking in, saying hi. We have an iHeartRadio app. There's an app if you have a smartphone, Android, if you have Apple, whatever you have, just search iHeartRadio. And then when you go to iHeartRadio, search Sports Radio 93.3 KJR FM. And then all of our shows are up there. You can listen back, podcast. Nate likes to jump on every now and again, especially when we get in the NFL season, and then listen to us live on 10 to 1 every single day. I mean, we're just tearing up Seattle sports radio. I mean, come on, red hot baseball team, certainly better than that crap-tastic Giants team. So you can have me on later in the year when the Mariners win the World Series. Huh? How about that, Nate?
If they won the World Series, I would be happy for them because your baseball fandom team, God, those people are miserable.
21 years. 21 years. We're
21 years.
Since we've been in the playoffs.
I'll send a text in the text line tomorrow, too.
All right, do that. All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming on. We will see you next week. And I almost forgot. The hype train never stops, baby!